woman has worth equal to a man. Just because a man does something, a woman should also do it as well. She doesn't have to go out and start laying bricks and start working in the mines and start grabbing a jackhammer. We have a question here. There are several women, including Aisha radiallahu anha, who have proven leadership skills. Still, why there are no female prophets in Islam? At least, why are they not allowed to lead prayers, leading including men and boys, nor allowed to call adhan? If it is because not to distract men, then how is it different from the speech our respected sister who addressed the gathering here? This is a good question. First, there's a difference of opinion if there have been prophets who were women. Al-Imam al-Qurtubi says that Maryam alayhi salam was a prophet. Other scholars as well say Maryam, other scholars as well say Asiya as a prophet. But there's agreement that the messengers, there's a difference between a Nabi, prophet, and Rusul, messenger. So there's a difference of agreement that were all prophets men or not. But when it comes to messengers, they were all men. Regarding why are they not allowed to lead prayers, women are allowed to lead prayers, to be imams, leading prayers in front of men. So I want to first, before I answer this directly, I want to first address the mindset of this question. And that is that we live in a society where this society's history comes from a patriarchal society, and it was ruthless patriarchal society in America and in Europe, and if you look at the history, how women were treated. And so you talk about male dominance, you talk about oppression of women, treated as property, not given basic inheritance rights, not given the right of identity, etc. And so feminism came to respond to this oppression. Feminism came to remove this unjust male dominance in society. And the mindset was then created that to prove that women have worth, a woman should now do everything a man does. Otherwise, we cannot prove that a woman has worth equal to a man. And so this movement started with that. This is not our problem. Islam never had this male dominance, women being oppressed in Islam, in the Quran or the Hadith. This is not our problem. And we should not adopt their methodology to solve a problem that we don't have. And so the mindset now is developed that just because a man does something, a woman should also do it as well, right? And Allah subhanahu speaks about this. He says, وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضُكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. He speaks to the genders. And he says, do not crave the roles that we have given some over the others, right? To each one, men will have the rewards for what they do, women will have rewards for what they do. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمًا. And this is probably an important part here, that surely Allah is ever knowing of all things. In other words, Allah knows what is the best role for a male and the best role for a female. And so for us, women don't have to fight to prove their self-worth, because the scripture already establishes that. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honored in the sight of Allah is the one with the most taqwa. And that can come as a male or as a female, as a black person, as a white person. It could come as any human being. So the Prophet Muhammad said, advise us to be good to women. Talk to us about the status of women. So Muslim women don't have to do exactly what a man does, right? And so she doesn't have to go out and start laying bricks and start working in the mines and start grabbing a jackhammer and saying, hey, I can be equal to a man. That's not necessary. You are. The Prophet Muhammad said, إِنَّمَا النِّسَاءُ شِقَائِقُ الرِّجَالِ. That women are the twin halves of men. They don't have this text. They don't have anything like this. They have text that debases women. So we want to make sure we don't get this mindset, and we understand that these roles are set for a reason. And to answer the question, if we look at Islam, whenever we look closely at the rulings of Islam, we find that whenever a ruling comes for the women, the predominant theme is how to remove burden from the women. Now, being an imam is a burden. You have to be here for every salah. You have to be here on time. Women go through menstruation. She's not able to always be here and pray. You've been given the permission to not pray during menstruation. So you have 35 less salah on average every month excuse that men are accountable and responsible to perform. And so if we look at it, it's for the ease. Given the adhan, you have to be punctual, you have to be on time. Ask any imam, how is this position of being there 5 times a day? You have to be there. In other words, you really can't go far from the masjid because you have to be here 5 times a day, dedicated from dawn till late at night to make sure you're here to lead the salah. And then you have to have the hifz of the Quran, you have to memorize the Quran. So all of this, since it's a burden, it's not a responsibility for a woman. It doesn't mean she's not able. Again, remember, it's not about ability, it's about responsibility. So the short answer is that it's because Islam removes burden from women and grants them ease.